Hi Year 11, I'm really sorry that we aren't in school for us to be learning this together, but I have put together a selection of really meaningful lessons that I really do need you to be working through to the best of your ability. So I'm going to go through the first one. There's about, I'd say 4 that are very similar to this, and then 2 others. So basically, we're going to do unseen poetry. Unseen poetry is something that is going to be on your GCSE paper. It is a poem, it's basically what it says in the tin. It's a poem that you've never seen before that you'll have to annotate, okay? So we're going to quickly go through how you would do it and how you would structure it, and then we're going to go through how you do a comparison, and then I'm expecting you to do them on your own. So as it says on here, you'll need to answer 2 unseen poetry questions in your literature exam. One of them is worth the most marks. So this question here with the poem title is the worth the most marks. In the question, you'll need to analyse how the poet shows the given theme. So, for example, in the poem title, a random poem, how does the poet present the idea about and then a certain theme? That is 24 marks, that question. Then you'll also have another question, which is only 8 marks, so you don't need to spend half as long on this one. And that could be something like, in both poem 1 and poem 2, the speakers describe attitudes towards something. So, for example, love. All you need to do is say, what are the similarities and or the differences between the ways the poets present these attributes? So you're going to work through these PowerPoints and you're going to figure out how to answer both these questions. Like it says down here, you need to focus on making comparisons and using quotes, but you don't have to write huge essays. It is only 8 marks, therefore an essay is ridiculous. So what is unseen poetry? Unseen poetry is, like I said, a poem you've never seen before. You're given a second poem that is also unseen. You're expected to compare the language and make comments comparing the meaning, messages and language on the poem. As an example, poem 1, poem 2, both compare the methods the poets used to present. So you look at 2 ways that the poems are similar or different. This is your comparison. So, for example, Lullaby is a poem you've never seen before, and Nettles is a poem you've never seen before. Each speaker describes feelings with a parental relationship, and you need to figure out what are the similarities and or the differences between the ways the poets present these feelings. So if I were you, I would read through both of them, highlight any attitudes towards parental relationships, and then just do like what we do in all the other questions, like paper 2, question 2 and question 4. Draw a table of the similarities and differences and start your response. Your response is set out here. As you can see, poem 1 is in green, poem 2 is in red, and all the comparison connectives that you need to include are in blue. So both poets use the language to tell us about blah, 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 about their parental relationships. In poem 1, parental relationships is shown. The poet uses something to show something when he or she says blah, blah, blah. That's when you need to embed your quote. This gives us the impression that parental relationships are awful or good or whatever, and then add a suggestion on. Then you need a connective. So if it's going to be similar, if they're going to have the same parental relationship, then it's similarly. If it's going to be completely different, then it's however, and you repeat the same process. Then you just have a final line saying, summing up basically what's going on. That is your comparison.